right, so the bottom line is when it comes to automatic door bottoms, the client says, I need automatic door bottoms. Okay, so what you're always trying to do is filter down from all of the available options down to what the client wants. And not only what the client wants, but what the client's excited about. Oh, that's exactly what I want. Oh, no, that's better than what I want. So it does always start with where do you want to install it? Is it mortised into the bottom of a wood door? And the advantage of that is that it's concealed. You don't see the hardware. The hardware is going to be less susceptible to damage and vandalism. Also, when you mortise it into the bottom of the door, you don't have a problem when it comes to handicap compliance, because a surface-mounted automatic door bottom would not be permissible for handicap compliance because it's hanging off the door into the opening. You're going to mortise those. Now, the problem with mortising them is that usually can't be done in the field easily, but then there are some customers that would say, I have no problem mortising it in the field. That's something I can easily do. But the majority of the time people are like, oh, I already have the doors and I don't have the tool to do that, or I don't think my carpenter can do that. Well, one way or another, it's either going to be mortised or surface mounted. And if it's surface mounted, that's really easy to install those, in the sense that once the item is cut to length, it's literally just positioning it in the correct location on the door, pre-drilling holes, and then attaching it.
It's like a little bit harder than installing a door sweep.
It would be basically the same level of difficulty of installing a sweep, except that it'll take a little bit longer because you have to adjust the bolt to get the drop correct, but you also have to usually attach end plates as well. So it's no more difficult. And then you can do a semi-mortise where you're going to take a surface mount unit, and they differ slightly in terms of the end caps, but then you're going to route that flush to the face of the door. Now, every decision that you make in terms of what you'll use is also going to be based on what the door will tolerate. If it's a wood door, can you mortise the bottom without damaging the door? If it's a fire-rated door, you can't mortise that in the field. It's not permissible to do it. Whenever your client wants to do these, you'll always want to tell them, make sure that you get your door supplier or the door manufacturer to prep it for that before you even get the doors, and then you just determine a make and a model. So it's either going to be mortised or it's going to be surface mounted. The composition of the door is going to dictate that. Aluminum, hollow metal, wood, fiberglass, other exotic types of doors. Then it's going to always be a matter of standard duty or heavy duty. And the difference there is just the size of all of the internal components and its ability to seal as thoroughly as possible. The more money you spend, the better the seal is going to be. That's the bottom line. But the more money you spend, generally, not always, generally the larger the unit is. So if you're doing sound transmission control applications, you're going to need to work with a automatic door bottom that's compliant with the STC rating that you want to hit. And then it'll boil, once you know the method, the mounting type, dependent on the door, standard or heavy duty, obviously finish if it's a surface mount or if it's semi-mortise. And semi-mortise just means you make the case flush with the face of the door and you just route the face of the door. These are things that you generally can't do to most doors in the field. Then it's going to be a matter of what insert. So bristle is excellent when it comes to filling in an irregular surface. If you have a potted or pocked or irregular concrete surface, or you want to keep insects out, because it's known that insects don't like to land on that stuff, bristle is great. If you want to keep out moisture, closed cell neoprene is great. If you want to have sound attenuation, open cell neoprene is great. If you want something highly flexible that will work extremely well in very high temperatures, silicone is great for that. They also make security versions where there's an aluminum bar that has bristle on both sides. And the concept of the security version is you can't stick something underneath the door to manipulate the lever on the inside. So it's then mount type, grade of the item, standard or heavy duty, finish type, finish that you want, and then what you want to seal. If you're looking to do like Food processing control, probably silicone or maybe polyurethane would be very good, because polyurethane would be best because it's impervious to growth, mildew, bacteria growing on the material itself. So bristle, silicone, closed or open cell neoprene, polyurethane. These are all options. And the one downside that usually happens with automatic door bottoms, if you sell 10,000 of them, 1 or 2 people out of 10,000 will say that they're loud. They're too loud. They clank when the door opens. That's true. They do make a sound. So you might also want to consult with the client and say, these things make noise. Is that a problem? So people with COVID working at home, they need silence. Some people have sleep disorders where they need to keep the sound out as best as possible. So a clanking door bottom on a bedroom door in a restaurant, in a residential application, you'll definitely need to think about a model that is as quiet as possible. And those are the general things that I would go through when I'm talking about how to select an automatic door bottom.